Hello, I'm Rick Lewis with Phenom Hoop Report. In today's segment of Phenom Focus, I have head coach Kevin Liggon of the Charlotte Aces. Coach, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Coach, tell us how long you've been coaching at the AAU travel ball level.
I've been doing this for 30 years, believe it or not. It's a passion of mine, and I've enjoyed every moment of it.
So tell us what got you started in the coaching.
It's almost by accident, Rick, to be honest with you. I was coaching girls softball at the YMCA. I finished that season, and they needed a coach for the boys, 16 and under team. They didn't have anybody. The kids were looking pitiful. They were in the gym, and basically I got coerced and pushed by my boss to start coaching. And I started enjoying it, and it's been a mistake ever since because now I'm addicted.
Well, you started out 30 years ago with the Charlotte Sonics.
Correct.
And that was probably the first travel ball team in the Charlotte area.
Yes.
Tell us a bit about that, the origin of the Charlotte Sonics and how you got involved with that, and some of the players that you coached 30 years ago off that team.
Well, I'm going to tell you, Ed Sockwell was the orchestrator of that group, and he and Rod Seifert pretty much were the big names in basketball.
Right.
So Sockwell had the Sonics, and Rod had the Royals. Basically, CJ, Clarence Johnson, who's at Mallard Creek now, coaches girls, got me involved, and basically we had a nice team. We made it to the national championship in Winston.
Right, I remember that.
And we had, on that team, we had Jerry Stackhouse, Jeff McGinnis, Jeff Capel, Damon Forney, Tavares Johnson, who played at Xavier, just a number of Division I players on that team. We came up a little short against Allen Iverson and Joe Smith, but
right.
It was a great game. It was packed, and it was a wonderful experience.
That was played at the old Winston-Salem Coliseum.
Absolutely,
yeah.
Absolutely.
Now, when you started with the Charlotte Sonics, a couple years later, you formed the Charlotte Aces.
Yes.
You've been with the Charlotte Aces for 27 years.
Absolutely.
You started it.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, I really wanted to do something a little different. I was looking at more national exposure, trying to get kids who didn't have a platform,
right.
Giving them an opportunity to play, especially in my neighborhood. So most of the kids when we first started were from the Beatties Ford Road area. It was high poverty, high crime. So we wanted to do something to address that.
You want to give something back to them.
Exactly. So we were intentional with what we did. We had, good coaches around. We had some sponsorship from the county. We practiced at Johnson C. Smith. We wanted to expose the kids to what college and working people were. So we had a midnight basketball league through the Aces. We actually had a lot of kids that we worked with tutorial and after-school programs. So those things, were really important to me because I'm real big in education because I work in education now.
Well, this is not a full-time job. You do this because of the passion. And I know personally you coached one of my sons, Colby, when he was in high school with the Charlotte Aces. But you've overcome some tremendous adversity. Tell us a little bit what you've overcome, because a lot of the people in the audience don't know what you've suffered through. And in order just to coach, it has to be a tremendous passion to go through what you've gone through, Coach, and still have the time for your young players. That's a great inspirational story.
I'm telling you, now that I'm hearing you, vocally say this and verbally say this, it kind of touches me because I never thought about it that way. I had a kidney transplant on March 31st of this year, and you and Jamie were the first people to call me.
Right.
When you found out, and I appreciate that because like
You're
I
welcome.
said, you guys have been family, and my basketball family, John Allen, Mike Talbot, Coach Desmond Oliver, some of these folks were, Johnny on the spot and been very inspirational. You were able to, when we come to your tournaments, I say, Rick, I got dialysis in the morning, can we play late?
Right.
You would accommodate me, and those things were important because I wanted to participate. We were traveling all over the country playing. However, I was taking my dialysis machine,
right.
Everywhere I went. And, I would do my dialysis at night and pack it up and, travel. But, I can tell you, God was with me. It took tremendous faith, and it took, basketball to take my mind off of all the things that I was going through. And a lot of people didn't know I was going through it. Only close people I shared it with, like, I told you, I told, a couple of other guys who, when they asked me in tournaments, I love to play, but here's my situation.
Right.
And, they were scheduled. Even AAU, when we went to the Nationals and the Super Showcase, they accommodated my schedule for my health. So, it was a blessing just to have friends and support like that. So I couldn't have done it without help.
Well, I talked to you the other night on the telephone, and you were saying that this was a very trying time in your life.
It was.
Here you were through kidney dialysis, and you were waiting for a kidney transplant.
Yes.
And I'm sure you had a lot of anxiety. You're probably stressed out over your long-term health.
Yes. Yes.
But basketball was a means to take your mind off of it.
It was. I mean, it was. My wife was very supportive. She made sure I ate well, and when she could go, she would, and basically she knew that that's something that I love doing, and just being in the gym with the kids, being around you guys, coming to the top 80, any chance I could be around the sport or in the gym. I didn't think about being on a wait list or thinking about what if I don't get a kidney, what if this doesn't work, what if I go into kidney failure and not eligible for a kidney. All those things, come into mind. And last summer I actually had a surgery where I was in the hospital for 8 days. And, that was very serious. And, that was very stressful. It took me out of work, but I was still able to kind of have that basketball family call to support me.
I can imagine the anxiety you would go through even when you went to a regional travel ball event. You got to pack up all your stuff, your dialysis, do the dialysis in the mornings, and then go coach that afternoon. The next morning, you got to do it all over again.
It starts all over again. And
Coach, that's a lot of faith, and
it is.
It speaks volume to you as a person, what you're trying to achieve with the young men in the neighborhood in Charlotte that you're trying to help. And like you said, the neighborhood and the area in Charlotte you're trying to help is from a neighborhood where a lot of kids don't have that opportunity.
Right.
It's economically challenged neighborhood. Tell us a little bit more about that, Coach.
Well, I grew up in that area. I'm a graduate of West Charlotte and a graduate of UNC Charlotte, so I'm a native. So it's important to me to take care of those people that I can identify with. I didn't know my father. He was, I didn't have a male role model, so I made sure that I was intentional to be a male role model or be a father for those kids who didn't have one. Taking them to visits. I was talking to Justin Gray, one of my former players, and he reminded me, he said he was having a conversation with one of his recruits, and he was telling him, look, Coach Liggon used to take me on my visits, take me back to Oak Hill. I would take Jerry and Jeff back to school, and they would come spend weekends with me. So I remember those days, and I remember, sometimes people need help.
Right.
And, when it was time for me to need help, I got it.
Right.
You guys were supportive, because you could even say, well, Kevin, I'm not going to change my schedule to accommodate you, but I think because of the relationship we had, and you knew that, what I was trying to accomplish, those things were important.
Right.
And then, that helped me, and that gave me faith to say, you know what, I got friends that support me, I got a loving wife, I got family, I can beat this.
Well, Coach, you got a great story to tell. I'm glad that we're able to share this story with so many people because, I knew what you were going through. A lot of people out there just didn't realize how much faith that you had in God, and how much you believed in the young men in your area and what you wanted to achieve by providing these young men a platform. And for you to go through what you've gone through and still take the time to coach is a tremendous testament. And you know what? The Charlotte Aces and the people in the Charlotte area are very lucky that they've had you as a mentor and a coach. And thank you so much, Coach.
I appreciate it. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Take care.
All right.
Guys got it? So hard work on three, sprint to the next spot. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Hard work. Sprint to the next spot. Don't walk. Get there, get there, get there, get there.